when we're looking at the 1920s and 1930s, we are looking at an era of great technological expansion. We have the first commercial air flights really going on, or this is really the dawn of the age of aviation. So in some ways, our Art Deco borrows from airplane design in curved forms and in wing type forms, tail fin type forms. It also borrows from, this is the era of large ocean liners. So think of big ships like the Titanic, or even larger ocean-going ships for trans-oceanic travel. So some of Art Deco takes its influence from steamship, ocean-going ship design. Now there are other elements to Art Deco as well. It borrows from Mesoamerican and Middle Eastern design, things like stepped pyramids. You'll also often see a lot of Egyptian influence, symbolism from, say, going back 5,000 years to the different kingdoms of Egypt. Feather design, ostrich feather design is really common. You'll see like the, I think it's the crown or staff of Djoser. You'll see influences of that old Egyptian design just re-emerging in Art Deco architecture. Of course, there had been different revitalizations of Egyptian culture and Egyptian design. There was a large movement in the 1870s and 1880s. The Victorians really picked up on that Egyptian design, and of course the Victorians, they were, especially wealthy Victorians, they were leaving their homes and traveling the world. Many wealthy Americans, many wealthy Europeans, they did their grand tour, their grand European tour. We're kind of looking at that era in the Victorian era, when people are starting to travel farther and farther from home and take these grand tours and see kind of the wonders of the world, or at least the wonders of Europe, because most of this was centered in Europe. The bigger Art Deco buildings you see, like the Badgerow building, which do have a lot of terracotta ornamentation. You'll see geometric designs, sunburst patterns. You'll see a lot of zigzags. Zigzag lines are also very common in Art Deco architecture. But following up Art Deco, you have kind of a sub-movement, which is Art Moderne or Art Modern, which I will often refer to as just modern or streamlined modern. If you think of like you might imagine the prototypical 1940s diner, like our Archie's Diner here in town, with the curved glass block walls, the streamlined, you'll see different stainless steel and aluminum cladding. You'll see things like that in Art Moderne. You'll often see rounded fronts and corners on buildings. Another connection between the Badgerow building and the Heights. The Badgerow building was designed by a Swedish immigrant. His name was K.E. Westerlund. He came to the United States in 1908 and would eventually come to Sioux City in 1920. He supervised construction of the Midland packing plant, which many Sioux Citians might know better as the old KD station down in the stockyards. He really liked Sioux City and he decided to stay here. And his architecture is kind of novel all around town and is fairly prolific. The Badgerow building, the Municipal Auditorium, the old Municipal Auditorium was his design. And he was practicing even later than that. St. John Lutheran Church is one of the few churches in town that has small bits of Art Deco design. And again, that's a Westerlund thing. But Westerlund was active in more than just Art Deco and modern architecture. He also borrowed back from more classical American architecture. So we'll see actually several Westerlund buildings here in the Heights. And they're not just Art Deco or modern, they're Italian Renaissance and they're colonial revival. So there's a diversity in the architecture as well.